All right, you're gonna hand me your headshot and your resume, and I'm gonna turn it, and it's gonna say NYU, right? Like,
Hey everybody, welcome back to Call Time a Theater Pod. This is a space where we can talk about it all because every role in theater matters, and this is a space where we can laugh, learn, and sometimes call out the chaos. So sign in on the sheet, cause it's call time. Right, so my guest today is someone who, honestly, I connected with them through the magic of TikTok, and I never thought I'd say that, but I'm so happy that TikTok connected me with somebody else. So I'd love to introduce to you my guest, Sam!
thank you so much, Marisa. It's so nice to be here. I can't believe this is like, I started this new TikTok account, and within like a couple weeks, it led me to you, and now this is happening. I'm so overwhelmed in the best way.
Yes, me too. I mean, I'm overwhelmed 90% of the time. Ask my therapist, but you know, it's this is good.
The good overwhelm.
The good overwhelm. Awesome. So, Sam, here's a look at what's happening on today's show.
An it factor, there's a quality that the industry values. That person, you can put them in literally any program and they're gonna be a star.
No. That's not what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to cater to what goes viral.
And I think it would be so funny to put my queer ass in there going, girl, just leave your boyfriend. You deserve much better.
Wasn't that great?
Wow. Honestly, I really could feel us holding space for the lyrics of Defying Gravity in that. I really think we did.
Yes.
I love it.
I wish I could like hold your hand like Ari and Cynthia do, where they're just like, it's like
what an honor that would be. Truly.
I love that. Okay, so Sam, I got a question for you.
Okay.
In my heart of hearts, I truly believe that there is good theater cringe and bad theater cringe. And I would love to know what you would put in those categories.
This might be a little bit of a hot take, but I can't stand like theater warm-ups, like group warm-ups, like theater games, especially when you're not in a theater setting. Like a lot of times I'll be at like a business summit or like some kind of sit-downy thing where I'm in a suit and then some past theater kid will get up and be like, all right, everyone, we're going to play Zip, Zap, Zop.
No, not Zip, Zap, Zop with business people.
And I'm like, my guy, it's 8 a.m. I haven't finished my coffee and I'm wearing trousers. No, please don't make me do this.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry because that is, I feel this so much. Because it's like you're exposing us in the worst way possible to the normies.
Oh yeah, and they'll be like, all right, circle up everyone, it's just like at theater camp, and I'm like, ugh, I'm gonna throw myself out the window. Please don't do this.
No. Amazing.
So that's definitely the bad theater.
Oh, I love that a lot.
But on the positive side, the good theater cringe, I think, is the way that theater people will make family and like passionate, meaningful family in the most mundane places. Like, they'll literally be like, it's been an honor to stand with these fine people at the Pearl Studios elevator. We started at the bottom. Now we're here. I love you all so much. It's like, really? Okay. But it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's so gorgeous. So great.
That beautiful categorization of those. That is awesome. Thank you for that. All right, so our topic as of filming this, and that is BFA program specifically for theater, musical theater, all of that. I just want to say for the record that I was not expecting this conversation to happen right now. I figured it was going to happen eventually, but right now I was like, oh, okay.
Right out the gate, you like, might as well shoot the Band-Aid.
Shuffling my papers, I'm like, wait, I wasn't ready, and now I am. And I'm really happy to talk to you about this. So the first thing I wanted to bring up with you is something I found from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which says there are at least 54,160 actors in the U.S. alone. that seems low to me. But it also is like a very random specific number. I don't that and that is this is their number as of 2024. So obviously 2025 could be a whole new thing. But the question I have coming out of this is, so of that many actors, how many of them do you think actually have a BFA?
Honestly, I would say a little more than half, I would assume. Because that number feels really low to me, but I wonder if that, it's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I wonder if that's like actors who file taxes with actor as their main profession. Because I know sometimes maybe they'll file as if there's something else, or maybe they're a working actor, but they're not making their biggest income from that. So that maybe when they do the taxes, they call themselves something else. But I feel like of that number, at least half, maybe more than half, have to have BFAs.
Yeah,
with as many programs as we have.
It's funny that you say that too, because what I decided to do is I decided to make a list of every state and see how many schools in each state actually offer a BFA program. So I have a top 4, and I would like you to guess any potential what could be in that top 4.
I'm going to say New York's got to be in there because we got so many schools just in Manhattan.
Yep.
I wonder if Virginia?
Virginia actually only has 4.
Okay, so not Virginia. Michigan?
Michigan has 3.
Florida. I'm going to Hail Mary for Florida.
Florida has 9.
Okay.
And this is only BFA programs. I'm not counting BA programs.
Oh my gosh.
So New York has 11.
Okay.
And it's tied with Illinois with 11.
What?
Followed by California.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Which has 10.
Okay.
And Texas, which has 10.
You know what? I should have guessed Texas because they're huge.
I found that to be really interesting as I was scrolling through, because there's even especially the schools that don't have any. For some reason, I'm like, none?
Who has no programs?
Okay, the following schools have no programs for BFAs. Alaska, Delaware, Hawaii, Idaho, Kansas, Maine, Maryland, Mississippi, New Mexico, Oregon, Rhode Island, and Vermont.
Whoa.
This is just BFA. Some of them do have BA programs, but not BFA.
Kansas actually kind of surprises me because with as many musicals as takes place in Kansas.
Truly, it's like one of the most important places in musical theater history. Yes. Yeah, so these numbers are really interesting to me because I, growing up East Coast, I really would not have, suspected, I thought that there would be either more in certain places or less in certain places, but and I know part of the conversation is that, and I'm going to refer to the conversation that started it all, the TikTok that started it all, refers to thinking that there are too many BFA programs now. And I would love to know how you felt about the TikTok overall and what you think about too many BFA programs.
I'll be honest with you, I was doing my usual doom scroll and then I saw Josh's video and it right away, I kind of agreed with it. I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of There's a saturation of performers that are of a caliber that maybe have yet to develop into the caliber that we expect for major Broadway shows and professional performance. I hadn't considered that maybe there's too many BFA programs until he said, I think it's because we've got too many. And I thought, well, when I was in high school thinking about what I was going to do, I don't know that I had that many to choose from. And I don't really remember, I didn't really apply to many. I applied to 2 and then, did that. And now, students I'm hearing are applying to 15 schools when they're trying to get into college and stuff. And that's very an unknown thing to me. That's not been my journey. I started going okay, that makes sense. If there's too many programs putting out too many larger classes, then maybe we're a little oversaturated. And I have noticed some things he pointed out, but I didn't think much of it until I started seeing reaction videos. And then the reaction videos, I was like, ooh, this is a hotter issue than I anticipated.
Yeah.
But I think that might be just showing where I am in my career and what my journey has been. Because I didn't even consider that this might be a controversial take.
Fair enough. And it's interesting too because like I said earlier, I was like, I figured this was going to happen sooner or later because from my own experience, I auditioned for 12 schools. I got into 9. And then I ended up actually going to a school for a BA. So like none of that mattered in the end. But like I would be at these auditions, and some of the other people that I was auditioning with, they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm auditioning for 30 schools." And I was like, "There are 30 schools that offer this? There are 30 schools alone."
How does anyone afford that? Because these schools charge like what, $50 to $100 per application?
Yeah, and it baffled me because that alone is an expense that. You have to budget for that. You have to think about that, and not even just travel costs, application fees, all of that. It's and then the possibility of not even getting into any.
Yeah. Wow, that's a completely different process than I experienced when I was in school. So that I'm blown away.
I'm wondering though. So the next TikTok that I have referenced here is, the audition process is so different now, getting into schools too. Yeah. And I wanted to know what your own experience was versus what you've seen.
I knew I wanted to be a performer, but I also was like very into chorus and doing choir stuff. And I got it into my head that I wanted to go to a very specific school that had a very specific chorus program in New Jersey.
Let's go.
And I was like, that's where I'm going to go. That's what I'm going to do. And I put all my eggs in that basket. And that's the only place I applied to. I'm a private school kid. And they were like, no, you have to 100% college acceptance in our program. Like, you have to apply to colleges and you have to get accepted because they care about that shit. I did not get in to the school that I had put all my eggs in the basket. I wasn't academically strong enough, which is totally fair. And I didn't get in. And it floored me. And I kind of looked around and I was like, well, all the other schools that I even remotely am interested in aren't, they're done. They're done with their auditions and stuff. And then there was some conservatories that were still auditioning. And I thought, well, if I can't do the one thing that I really, really thought that I wanted to do, I'll at least put myself in the place where the things I want to do are happening. So I auditioned for a conservatory, a 2-year program that's in New York City. I got in like a week later. I think they were auditioning in DC. I didn't audition in New York. I auditioned either in DC or Norfolk. I'm from Virginia originally. And I think they were on tour. And I remember very specifically, I sang Many a New Day from Oklahoma.
Yes, I love Oklahoma.
And I used to have like really long blonde hair, and I had just gotten like a bob. And I was like,
you were in the moment.
Oh, yeah, I was there. I was in my vibes. And then I did a monologue, Nikki Silver's The Food Chain. I did a monologue from that, which I love. 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Recommend.
Yes. And
like a week later, I got in, and they gave me a scholarship. And I was like, sick. I guess I'm moving to New York in a couple months.
There you are.
And in my mind, the idea that I wouldn't come out of that experience with a BFA or a BA, because it was only 2 years, that didn't really bother me. I was like, well, I'm going to be in the place I want to do the thing, and we'll see what happens after that. And then there was this opportunity to like transfer to new school here in New York and finish my BFA. And because I'm the first person in my family to have like a proper degree, that was important to me. So after I finished the 2 years in the conservatory, while I was auditioning and working, I also went to school at New School and got like all my gen eds, and I picked up some psych credits, and I have a psych degree as well. So it worked out really well. So I got my BFA from there, but I got my training at this conservatory, and that was it. And then I just started working.
Blessica. That's amazing.
Yeah. So the idea of like, I have to get a BFA, like that's going to be the be all end all for me, was literally the furthest thing from my mind.
Wow.
I did not think about it.
Oh my gosh. That's so interesting because like for me and my experience, BFA was like it was it. If you got a BA, you're lesser.
Ooh, okay. Hot. Yeah.
Which to this day, I'm like, lesser. I mean, even the theater program that I ended up leaving was a BA program, and I still learned a lot from that.
Absolutely.
One of the other arguments in another TikTok is that BFA programs are essentially turning into cash cows.
Yes.
For, the content farm of Broadway stars, churning them out like Disney used to do with child actors, And I want to know how you feel about that as well.
Sometimes I wonder, are they actually churning out Broadway stars, or are they just accepting so many people and putting so many people through the program that one's bound to happen?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I think that a star is a star is a star. Someone who is like, just, there's an it factor, there's a quality that the industry values. That person, you can put them in literally any program and they're going to be a star. And it sometimes just comes down to who can they afford to go to, what kind of training do they choose to get, and what program brings them in. I think that there's lots of things that you can learn and cultivate and do, but sometimes you just have it or you don't. And I think some programs bank on that. They look for like, okay, if we didn't do anything for you or with you, would you still be on Broadway in the next few years? And then they reach out and bring in those people. And then, of course, they have people who have potential, people who could absolutely grow into a Broadway star. But I do think a lot of programs focus on who's already kind of ready or who's like really close to being ready.
Okay.
That's a take I have.
Interesting. I like that. That's a very interesting take. And so with that being said, I know a lot of schools have their own specific like brand of student. So,
for sure.
So it's just that statement alone. They each have a brand of student. Are you able to like, because you've been on the audition panel, are you able to like clock who came from what school?
For sure. Like sometimes the minute they walk through the door, you're like, all right, you're gonna hand me your headshot and your resume, and I'm gonna turn it and it's gonna say NYU, right? Like you can. Or, I'm sitting here going, I'm getting Michigan vibes. Am I correct? There are certain programs who they value a very specific type of student. Their faculty teach in a certain way, cultivate to a certain shape, style, timbre, whatever. And so everyone that comes out of there ends up being kind of similar. And anyone who didn't fit that mold or maybe rebelled against that mold, we either don't hear from them or they'll go to another program or they'll do something else and they'll find their own way. But a lot of times the people who a lot of the big schools put forward, I'm like, you're not doing anything different or unusual. You're all kind of approaching everything the same.
Can you clock Broadway stars and see what schooling they had too?
Ooh, if they're making a debut, yes. If they've been doing this for a hot minute, no. Because I really think for the first couple years you get out of school, you'll hold on to all those lessons that you learned and treat them like the gospel. You'll treat them like that is the be-all, end-all, this is how I do things. Because you think you know what kind of artist you are. And maybe you do. But the bulk of particularly young musical theater students don't. They don't actually know the kind of artist they are. They know the kind of artist that their program made them be to survive that program.
Right.
And then you get out in the world, you start figuring out like, oh, well, actually I can let go of this technique. I can let go of this habit. I can let go of this thing. And I can, you do shows with other people and you go, I see this person doing this and I'm going to start working that way. Or I'm going to explore expanding what I can do. And you'll take workshops and you'll meet new people and new directors. And then in 7 years or so after doing this, you'll be a completely different performer than you were coming out of school. And if you're exactly the same, I think you're doing something wrong.
I mean, I would also have to agree because it's like there was a backhanded compliment I heard once of a specific Broadway person. It was like, oh my gosh, they haven't changed since they started when they were 17.
Oh.
And I was like, is that a good thing? I feel like considering that they're, almost 40, I would like to think that maybe they're acting a little bit more like they've grown.
I'll tell you this. I was in it was an open secret that this program was really intense. And now looking back on it, maybe there were some toxic elements of this program. But on day one, I'm 18 years old. I'm sitting there, orientation, and one of their professors said, if when this is like what, October now, if you go home to your families around the holidays for the first break we have coming up, and they think you're exactly the same as when you left, you should quit.
Oh, wow.
And I remember at the time going, oh my God, what a heinous thing to say. But now looking back on it, I was coming out of high school. I had no training. I had a decent program at my school, but I had no real world access to any of this stuff. So yeah, if in 2 or 3 months of an intense program, I haven't learned something enough to start maybe carrying myself a little different or exploring something different, not only am I not growing as an artist, I'm not growing as a person. So I'm like, it was a harsh thing to say, but the spirit was kind of accurate.
I'm going to be thinking about that one for a while, honestly. Now, this is the part of the show where we would normally have an ad read, but I don't have those yet, so we're just going to sit here and look at the camera. Alrighty, and we are back with Sam, and we are talking BFA program specifically for theater, musical theater, all of that. It has been such a time listening to everyone's reaction and telling their stories, and I would love to hear more about like your overall experience and because you said you took the 2-year conservatory program, and did your audition give you an opportunity to kind of be like, oh, is this what my time is going to be like in this program?
I think in a lot of ways, yes, because my audition to me felt like the way that I would audition for a show, except for there was an interview portion attached to it. The program that I went to at the time I went was really stripped down. We had very little in the way of dormitories. We were basically living in community housing like you would if you're on tour or doing regional stuff.
Wow.
And there was no food program. Like you fed yourself, you took care of yourself. So literally it was just class from 8 a.m. to maybe 10 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday, and then extra rehearsals on the weekends, and then you're just living, eating, sleeping, and breathing the thing we're working on, which is learning the craft. And to me, that felt like that's what you do when you're in a show. You're in rehearsals all the time, and then maybe you catch up on some sleep when you can. And
yeah,
I did not expect, because I had not, obviously I was a high schooler, I wasn't prepared for the level of rigor. If I miss class, that's on me. And my school had a policy where if you missed 7 classes, you got expelled.
Yeah.
And not being there on time was missing a class.
Well, I was going to say, oh my goodness. Okay.
If they shut the doors, all the clocks were like synced, and they shut the doors right on time. And it didn't matter if you were just barely about to get your toe in the door, you were counted as absent, because at the time that was their big policy, is like, look, you can get fired for a lot of things, but the big one is lateness.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll give them that. So it immediately put you into the grind. Like, be like, okay, yeah, this is as realistic as it's gonna get.
Yeah.
Learn now. Yeah,
and I didn't stop at the time, you're just in the thing, you're just surviving the thing, and then, the turnover rate, the first couple weeks, there's a lot of people who drop out because they're like, this isn't what I wanted.
Right.
But I had this mindset of like, if I really want to do this, and they're telling me, these professors who are actively working actors right now, like they're literally in New York City doing this right now and then also teaching, if this is what it's going to be, this is what I have to do. Now looking back, I can see some things where I went, that wasn't necessary, or that's reminiscent of an older style of performing that we don't need to do that anymore. So I have a lot of criticisms about some of the toxic things that went on. But as far as the discipline is concerned, it prepared me to always be the most disciplined person in a room. I operate like a professional all the time, and any moment that I don't, if I'm falling out of my professionalism, I'll catch myself and pull myself back, and I'll probably beat myself up about it. But like, it's constant. And that's the level of, you have to be able to operate at that level to work in such a high stress environment like Broadway and professional theater, I think. With some concession, now that we've learned a lot more about mental health and stuff. The audition prepared me for the program, and then the program prepared me for life. It gave me the
Wow.
stamina to still be here 13, oh my gosh, no, 15 years later,
That's
still
crazy.
doing this.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And I'm curious though, since that is such a disciplined program, and I in my own experience in collegiate world, I don't see that. And I'm wondering if you feel like comparatively, is there a disconnect with that kind of discipline in these current programs?
I think that's exactly. There is a huge disconnect. That's a really astute observation. I remember after I graduated with my BFA from New School, I did some adjunct faculty work at another program. I think it was a BA program. It wasn't a BFA program, but I was subbing in for a class called The Business of Acting. And I remember, so I don't feel like I'm very far away age-wise from the people I'm teaching, but when I was sat there with them, I was just looking around going, this is like talking to high schoolers.
Mm.
And we're only a few years apart. How can you be in this program and not know these things? There were students there in their pajamas. And I'm like, I had to wear dress clothes every day for school if I wasn't in a leotard. I had to present myself and be like, every day is the audition. I treated my professors and my tutors like the professionals they were, like my future employers. And I'm sitting here with these students who were slumped over in their seat and not really engaging, and who just rolled out of bed with their bed head. And I'm like, it was like a culture shock for me, having been from my program, to see another program like that. And I think that's a very large binary. I know not all programs are like that, obviously, but there's a disconnect, unfortunately, when the faculty of a program are not actively engaged in the industry as it is right now. They cannot teach their students how to function in that industry.
Yeah.
And that gets noticed.
Yes, it does. Very, very much so. So I do feel bad for faculty in a way, because there's obviously so much pressure to train the stars of tomorrow, but I feel like, and I'm, again, not making this a full general statement, this is just from my own observation, a lot of faculty, they tend to be more of people pleasers to their students and feed into what they think they need. Yeah.
Well, because it's always easier to do that than it is to sit there and go, hey, I recognize that you see yourself this way, but the reality is this is what will help you grow. I know this doesn't feel comfortable hearing, but it is what will help you grow. Because there is a fine line between constructive criticism and something toxic.
Yes.
To be fair.
Oh my God, yes. True. But it's so interesting because we actually, I had a teacher who had, they weren't a new teacher, but they had just come to our school, and we auditioned new professors. One of the things that the one who won did, he came to us very people pleasing, being like, this is what I'm going to do for you. You want this? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then he lied, and he didn't do any of that.
Oh,
he didn't.
What?
But to the point where he really just didn't do anything with us, where it just turned into kind of lackadaisical, I'm going to tell you what I think is right because I have a certain degree and come from a certain place. And we're like, no.
That ain't right.
Absolutely rejected. And so thinking about this, it's like, if you're going to be a professor helping train the stars of tomorrow, I hate that I keep doing that, but this is kind of the way that it feels.
It's the way.
Again, like you said, it's the engagement.
Yeah.
You need to care.
Yeah.
It's Julia Roberts and Larry Crown. You have to care.
You have to care. And caring, in my definition of it in that way, is caring about your own education, your continued education. Anyone in this industry who thinks they don't need any more training, they don't need any more class, they don't need any more education, they're wrong. Our business is constantly changing.
Yes.
Not just technology, but the way we do things.
Yeah.
The master's program I was in, there's someone literally trying to invent a new way of approaching acting. The next acting book is going to be written by one of my professors. And there are people doing that, trying to move things forward. So you can't sit where you are and be content and think that you're going to help anybody who is walking forward.
Right.
It's just not possible.
Right. And the result of all of this is this new cookie cutter. And listen, every cycle has a cookie cutter. I remember the cookie cutter of the years I was going into college. And it's definitely different than the cookie cutter it is now, but it's still the same thing. And I want to know from your perspective, how would you define this era of cookie cutter graduates?
I think this era of the cookie cutter, it's the pop star era. They're calling it musical theater performance, but it's actually more pop performance. A lot of the vocals sound the same. They're less character vocal, like character voices, and they're more, everyone tries to sound like Ariana Grande, who, pop off. If that's how you sound, that's how you sound.
Absolutely. Own your own voice, though.
But yeah, own your own voice, because the problem that creates, when there's a cookie cutter like that, it's like everyone needs to sound this way. And the teachers are teaching to that style. People like me, people like some of my colleagues who, I don't fit that. That's not how my voice sounds. I don't do musical theater anymore, but like my voice doesn't sound like that. So if I can't achieve the soup of the day cookie cutter style, if, like whatever's the passing trend is, if I can't do that, I kind of fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
And that's not fair, because what makes musical theater wonderful in our entire history of this art form is that there is room for so many varied voices.
Yes.
And characters and styles of people. And when we hyper-focus on one specifically, we're denying ourselves the rainbow colors of all the others. And it gets boring, frankly.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I get bored.
Me too. I immediately think of Laura Benanti did at her 54 Below show. She used to talk about Soprano Island, about how like Kelly O'Hara and Audra McDonald and all of the Sopranos of Broadway, they're gonna end up on an island just singing to each other because Broadway is just turning into Belt City, Yeah. And I think about that maybe twice a day, but I also think about the unique voices that we have now, how much I cherish them. Like, first, weirdly enough, the first person I think of is Jennifer Samard, because
for sure.
Her voice is so unique, and she's got range, and it's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting to listen to.
Yes. And very specifically, I observe the kind of like pop musical theater thing that's going on. It's almost like they're trying to sound exactly like the recording. Because when audiences are paying that amount of money, they want to hear, we have trained them to want to hear something like the recording. But something wonderful about a more unique voice that has a larger range to it, every night's going to be a little fresh. It's going to be a little different. Yeah. There's going to be a little different kind of color to it. And that's interesting. Yes. That makes you want to go again and again, and it makes you wonder and get curious about the world of the piece.
Carrie Hope Fletcher also just did a whole take on this that I really appreciate, about how opting up is just, it's gonna kill voices, and it's gonna,
for sure.
Because I immediately think of course, the famous Aaron Tveit opt up in Moulin Rouge, which is beautiful. It's so gorgeous. The first time I heard it, I'm pretty sure I like melted in my chair because it was amazing. And then I remember, oh my god, when Derek Klana did it, it was great, but it was harder for him, and people gave him so much shit. They're like, how dare you not be able to do this? You're Derek Klana. You're supposed to be able to do this. No. That's not what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to cater to what goes viral. We go viral because we go viral.
Yes. The whole point is that it's unique in that moment.
Yes.
And it's unique to that person.
Yes.
And if you start forcing people to replicate all it's why all It's why all the Elphabas have like their specific moments to do their own thing. And that's what makes it amazing and interesting and iconic. Mm-hmm. We can't hold one voice to another's standard in that way.
Yes.
It's setting people up for failure.
Completely agreed. So thinking about the current state of these students coming into programs, their references are viral TikToks. And do I commend them for putting themselves out there and putting all their covers and being like, these are the songs that I love? I love that. Please continue to do that. But that also does not set the standard for, okay, you hit a number of views, and you went viral for this video. Great. You're all set to go. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You know,
that's it.
Visibility does not mean you're good enough to be seen. You know, it's the viral mindset and this overhyped confidence. And I worry that, you know, because most of the time they sound great. They do. But I've also heard it before. And so while I love the confidence building that people are giving because we want to encourage people to grow and be their best and perform their heart out and show us what they've got, there's also, I worry that it's going to encourage like mediocrity in a way.
Yeah, I'm grateful in a lot of ways that I did not come up in high school with like social media and like viral stuff.
Yeah.
Like I got my Facebook when I was in maybe my senior year of high school, and TikTok and Vine did not exist. These are not medias that I engaged with. No one really went on YouTube or anything like that. So I literally did not have access to how anyone outside of my little bubble was doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, the Jimmy Awards didn't exist as far as I'm aware. Like there was nothing. If there were things happening in other cities, I didn't have access to it. Mm-hmm. So I had no one to compare myself to. I had nothing to look at and go, oh, I should be doing that. I was completely myself when I went into my program because I didn't know any better. I compared myself to the other people, like, you know, in my high school and in my you know, my program, but nobody else. And that continued into my first few years in the industry. So I feel for these students who are just scrolling, watching video after video of these amazing people who aren't always authentically singing the things that they're singing.
Say it loud. Say it loud. Yep.
Audio processing is the thing, and we're getting better at it than ever. Now AI can do it for you. So, but they're watching this and then thinking they're less than. And I think it makes me really sad to think about it, but it's something I think about often, is that how many young performers out there watch all these videos and then get in their own heads and go, that can't be me. I can't do that. And if they hadn't seen those things, they might be the star of tomorrow. They might be amazing. But because they're comparing themselves to unattainable things, like maybe they're watching 20-year-olds sing and this is a 16-year-old, your voice is not the same.
No.
There's, you know, but you're holding yourself to that standard anyway.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that when you mention that about the Jimmy Awards, because I think about the other people in the student body who, let's say you're really excited to get into your BFA program, you walk in and you turn to your right and boom, you see Jasmine Amy Rogers in your program with you. And you're like, I remember her from the Jimmy Awards. Oh God, what am I doing here? She's here. I'm not gonna, oh God. And then the imposter syndrome just gets it's such a heavy thing.
I feel for these students. I really do. And so anytime I'm working with them, because I do like coaching and workshops and stuff, I'm just like, look, if you take away nothing from any of the advice I give you, just stop comparing yourself to other people.
Yes.
I need to remind myself of that sometimes. You know
I mean,
But that's what I say. Like you gotta stop comparing yourself to other people because you're not gonna go anywhere. It's just gonna put you in a bad mental space. It's gonna stifle your particular brand of creativity.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna help you.
Yeah.
Because no one is as good of a you as you are.
Exactly. I'm gonna cry. I really wish I had someone say that in my school when I went to school. Oh my God.
I feel that most of the time when I'm working with students, I swear it's just me writing letters to my younger self. I'm like, all right, what did young me need to hear? Particularly like young, queer, fat me. What did I need to hear? And that's what I try really, really hard to like keep as my like guiding light as I work through this industry.
I think it's a good balance that people need, which is the encouragement as well as the honest, constructive criticism to help them grow. If you go into a program and you go in with the idea, if you go into this thinking, well, you know, I did really well on social media, I have a lot of followers who are expecting me to be really good, and then someone says, oh, you were a little flat, it'll either go, you're super crushed and you completely dissolve, or you go, no, I wasn't. What do you mean? Mm-hmm. Everyone here said I was good.
Ooh, that's one of my little things. It irks the crap out of me when, like, in my program, which we have said is not necessarily the standard we should hold everything to, but in my program, we weren't even allowed to clap for each other.
Wow.
Like, you could applaud to an appropriate, amount. Like, someone performs, you give appropriate applause. If we were caught whooping and hollering, standing, being crazy, that was like a no-go. Because, and I remember at the time we were like, oh, that's so crazy. Like, why can't we do that? But because you're not clapping because you like the person. You're here to train and learn. You're applauding at the work being shown. Because we're not showboating for our friends, and it's like, oh my God, yes. Ooh. Like, I love Grace so much. Grace is amazing. Yes, Grace, yes. It's, okay, Grace just performed this thing, and it moved me. I will give applause. Because the audience doesn't know you.
Nope.
Most of the time. I mean, if you're a celebrity, maybe. But you know what I'm saying? They're not there. Most of the time in the career that you're going to have, the audience is not your friends. The audience will tell you exactly what they think of your performance.
Oh, yes, they will. Yes,
and you can't let it shake you.
Nope.
You can't let it. Your friends will always laugh at the laugh lines, even when they're not funny. So you're not learning how to do comedy if they're just cracking up at you all the time.
Yeah. And the teachers, when they are engaged and they really want to see you grow, they will more than likely give you what you need to grow. They'll let you know, hey, all you need to do is just pause for a little longer before you go into the next phrase. All you need to do is just hold yourself in that moment, be present. You're not there performing for a camera. You're not there performing for just your friends. You're there you're there to be in the moment of what you're doing.
Yeah. Get out of your head. You can't be in two places at once. You can't be present with the character and watching yourself at the same time.
Yeah. It's easier said than done, but like I feel like that is just something that needs to be reiterated in these programs. Get out of your head, be present.
Yeah.
Because we could lose TikTok again tomorrow, and then what?
And then what? It's so true. I really hope, and I do think to be fair, I think there are a lot of young performers who do have the spirit of like a real artist.
Yes.
They're like, they don't care about all of the sparkly bullshit. They want to learn how to really sink into a character and express what the composer or the playwright has given them, and they want to create the world and ensemble build and all that good stuff. So I do have hope that there is going to be a return. I don't know a return to when, but a return to just focus on the story and building something and creative together, not just pop showboating.
Yeah. And I think that having a certain mindset when you leave your program will also change things up as much as they possibly can. I wanted to ask you, what did you do when you first graduated?
I was working full-time while I was going to new school to finish out the BFA. I was auditioning, and like Broadway was not... I mean, I went to Broadway auditions. I did the standing outside, unofficial list, ECCs,
may it rest.
all of that. I did all of that, but it wasn't like a fixation. It wasn't an obsession, because in my mind, I was like, well, I have this training. I'm still learning how the business works because I'm not done doing that yet. I'm still, I hadn't even dabbled in like film and television. I hadn't even done on-camera stuff. So I have all this stuff to learn. Broadway will come. That time will come. I don't need to make it get here any sooner, because I went to a few, right out of school, I went to a few big auditions, and I observed, looking around, I'm going, they're not going to call my ass in here. I'm I'm not union yet. I don't have any experience to be union yet. I don't think my talent at, how old was I? Like 20, 21. My talent was not good enough for them to be like, equity contract immediately. Get in there, kid who has no experience. That wasn't me.
No.
There were plenty of kids that are that way, but that wasn't me. So I, instead of trying to force Broadway to happen immediately and as fast as possible, I started working off Broadway. I started doing off-Broadway stuff. I started, networking with theater companies and emerging playwrights. Broadway was never like, that's the thing that I will have peaked if I make it there. Because that's just not where my artistry calls me. And I've known that for a really long time.
I really respect that. For me, it was something where, Broadway was definitely a goal. And right now, I say, would I like to be on Broadway? Yeah, that'd be so much fun. Work. Tiresome.
If Broadway called tomorrow, I'm packing up my stuff and going. Absolutely.
But it's also, my world opened up so much after college of oh my gosh, there is such a large theater scene in Korea. I want to go to South Korea and be in, because they South Korean theater is also just an obsession of mine, but just international theater in general, or even just theater in America, West Coast small stuff, the Muni, all these places that matter just as much as Broadway does. And then I had to remember that Broadway, it's changed so much since I auditioned for colleges, and I think of it more as a business now than an artist's hub. If you want to be on Broadway, that means you want to be in the business aspect. You want to infiltrate that aspect. And so I ask you then, I know your program was very specific, so I think I might understand this if this isn't the case, but did your teachers ever make Broadway a focus point, a focal point?
I think yes and no. I think they made it instead of making it you have to make it to Broadway, it's Broadway is a very specific standard we want you all to be able to hit. That is a standard we want you all to hit. We want you to be able to work to that level. However, a lot of my teachers, some were professional ballerinas, some were professional opera people, and all in the industry working, and they worked all over the place. One of my teachers was really big on the regional theater thing, and then people did tours, and so they had made there was a wide array of careers modeled for me that I went, wow, I don't have to just go to Broadway. There's a lot of other things, but the level of discipline, the level of stamina, all of those things, they wanted us to be able to do it at a Broadway level. But they didn't say you're a failure if you don't go to Broadway. I think it might have been a joke. I did have a teacher who every dance class, he would walk in the room and he would go, "Is there talent in the room today?" And at the end of the class, we would all be lined up in our leotards, a la chorus line, and he would walk and go, "Community theater, high school, regional." And he would tell you, based on your performance that day in class, what level you were operating at.
Bold.
And
jarring.
For me, because I'm a Sagittarius who's got some Taurus in my sign, in my chart.
Yeah, me too.
It made me work harder. Every time he would look at me and he would go, "Regional, off-Broadway," and I'd sit there and go,
"Yeah!
I swear to God, tomorrow I will be Broadway. I'll work even harder tomorrow." And I did. And I remember that first day where he was like, "Broadway." And I was like, yes. Maybe the next day I'm knocked back down to community theater because I'm hungover after doing stupid stuff. Who knows? But trying to strive for that level was a good thing for me. Yeah. I'm really good when I have a goal. Now that I've gotten older and more experienced, I'm really glad that I don't have to achieve that. That's not something, but I know that if I was thrown into that world, I'd be fine. I'm not concerned about me at all if I get thrown into all of that because I can handle it.
With that all being said, in the BFA program conversation, do you think if that was polled in these current BFA programs that it would change the way people think about BFA programs in general?
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, I know that there's a lot of programs that have similar rigor. I know that the program that I was in does not exist anymore. I went back and I adjudicated. I was doing some casting, and I went to like one of their senior showcases to adjudicate them. And I just remember sitting there going, like it was maybe 10 years after I had graduated, and I was like, ooh, this is not the same. And actually, right out of school, after I finished my actual BFA, I went back and worked in the admissions office of that conservatory, helping out as like an alumni ambassador. And part of my job was like interviewing prospective students. And I was there when they started overturning rejections into accepts.
Oh.
Like this conversation around the BFAs, a lot of programs about, I guess, 6-7 years ago, started going, oh, you know what? Cash cow, we can start overturning some of these, rejections into positives and, accepts and bringing them in and then seeing what that does. And I was there when that first started happening. And I saw it happen in real time, which is why I quit.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Because it's wrong. I think it's wrong.
I agree. I think it's wrong. And it's because there's nothing wrong with rejection. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the people pleasing. It's the people pleasing. And so that being said, I feel there are two groups of people who are reacting to these conversations on TikTok. The people in denial that anything could be wrong and other people are just jealous, and the people who are saying, yeah, this is true. Your program betrayed you, and I'm sorry to have this happen to you like this.
Yeah. Because, hey, I get it. If the conversation can be really triggering, because like a lot of people are saying like, oh, the programs are taking advantage of people. They're not actually that good. Your program betrayed you. And if you're in one of those programs, that's a lot to handle. You've spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of your mental faculty to be in this program. So to even think that you might have gotten duped, that you might be in a vulnerable position to not actually get what you were promised, or that people don't like the program you're in, that's really difficult. But it doesn't make some of the scenarios less true. And I've observed people using like the no true Scotsman fallacy a little bit, where someone will say like, oh, programs are doing this, and then everyone in the comments is like, my program's not that way, my program's not that way. And it's like, well, maybe it's not.
Yeah,
but a lot of them are.
Yeah. It's like, it's not a general statement, but like everyone seems to have the shared experience.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Not everyone has, but most of them have. Absolutely.
And it's okay. Like going back to like the rejection thing, my big issue was that when there was one audition where I think I interviewed and adjudicated like 200 students for this one audition. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was similar to what I'm about to say. Maybe I think we accepted 10 to 15. We said 10 to 15 from this group of 200 are actively ready for the rigor of this program, and we think they're mentally in the right place, their academics are in the right place, their performance quality is in the right place. 15. Let's say 15. 10 to 15. And then the rest, we said, nothing against them. They're either just, their skill level isn't in the right place. They're not going to get anything out of the program yet. Maybe in a couple years, because we did a lot of that. Of like, oh, not right this second, but maybe in a few years you might, be ready for this. And very specifically, I remember we submitted all that paperwork, and then the next weekend when we were looking at like the new roster of like things that had gone out, they sent out like 120 accepts from that group.
Oh boy.
And I remember I thought it was a typo. I looked at it and I went, oh, that's
meant to be 12? Was it meant to be 12?
I was like, yeah, 10 to 15. And it ended up being like 120. And I was like, wait a minute. I said, well, what happened here? And some of the students' names I had remembered. I said, oh, well, no. I said that this person, they don't need to be here yet. Like, they just don't. There was something they said in the interview that I'm like, ooh, you're not mature enough for this yet. Or like, whatever it was. Perfectly valid. Nothing against them personally. And they brought them in. And I just remember going, ooh, you're literally set it. And none of them got scholarships. The ones that we had suggested got scholarships. And the others, they didn't. And when I went to like the the person who was in charge of me, and I was like, hey, what's going on with this? This doesn't seem right. They were like, yeah, well, the school has decided that that's what's going to be. And there was the faculty talked about it. It was like a big to-do. And I was so indignant about it, I quit.
Yeah. I wouldn't blame you.
It's not fair to those students.
No, it's not.
It's not fair.
I don't be like it's false advertising, but it's also just you're giving false hope.
Mm-hmm. Don't
accept them into the program they're not ready for. Let them go to a program that they are.
Yes, precisely. If you don't get accepted into a program, like I said at the beginning of this, I applied to exactly one school that I was dead set at 18 years old, was like, that was the place. That was the place. I look back on that now. The way I might not even be a performer today if I had gone there. I know that I wasn't academically strong enough to go to that school. I knew that the way that school was set up was not going to work for my particular neurotype.
Yeah.
I know that now.
I feel that.
And if I had gone there, there's a real chance that I might not be performing still over, decades later.
Wow.
So I really do believe that you end up at the right place for you, and you grow where you're planted. And if you put all of you into something, you're going to get something good back, no matter what the situation. So even if you are at one of these programs that people are saying, it's a cash cow program. Okay, so what? So you've discovered now at this very moment that you're in a cash cow program. So what? You're still getting something out of it. You're still putting in to this system, and you're going to get something out. And then after you get done, you're going to do what you need to do to get to where you want to get to.
Yeah.
Your program doesn't make you.
Yes, exactly. Also, you don't have to stay. You don't have to stay. I have had friends who went to programs, BFA programs, and after maybe a year or 2 years, they're like, you know what? I don't really think this is for me anymore. And that is okay.
Good on you.
That is okay. Saves you money, doesn't waste anybody's time. You end up where you need to be. And so exactly. I ask you the overarching question. Is a BFA really necessary?
No, I don't think so. I think there are many routes to a successful career in the performing arts.
Yes.
A BFA is one of them.
Yes.
If a 4-year program is what will work for you as a performer, great. If a 2-year conservatory and then jumping right into the industry is what's going to work for you as a performer, great. If moving to the city you want to work in and just taking classes and getting in with the right people, or kick it really old school, if you become a mentee for an actor and you're studying under that one actor like they used to do back in the old days, maybe that's your in, okay? There's a lot of ways that you can have a successful career in this industry. And if you think that the place that you go is going to somehow hack you into it, you're wrong.
Yeah. Then you're not doing it for the right reason. I grew up in a very academic family, and I wanted to go to school because even though I wasn't the strongest student, I loved being in school. I wanted to have that experience. And there are some people that aren't good at school, but feel pressured to go to a program that will bring on more stress. And that's a whole other thing. And so, yeah, there are so many ways to do this. And I think people really need to settle into that again.
Yeah. My thing is, if I were to speak to like a high school student trying to decide what BFA program to go to right now, I would say, what kind of artist do you want to grow into?
Yes.
And which program is going to help you grow into that artist? And if the answer is, I don't know what kind of artist I am or what kind of artist I could possibly be, there is a program that will help you figure that out.
Yes.
Go there.
Yes.
Do that.
And now we're at that part of the show that everybody loves, and by everybody, I think it's just me. I just love this. It's called the Green Room Games. Royalty-free Green Room Games, yeah. One day I'll get a jingle. So the game that we are doing today is a popular one. It's called Scene Stealer. And this is where, Sam, you are going to self-insert into the show of your choice and talk about how your presence affects the plot. So go ahead.
All right. I think it would be hilarious to insert me, as I am, into the 1996 version of I Love You, You're Perfect, Now Change.
Yes.
Because it's just straight people relationships, the musical.
Yes.
And I think it would be so funny to put my queer ass in there going, girl, just leave your boyfriend. You deserve much better. Just divorce your husband.
Oh my god. Are we talking like Greek chorus style, or are you just like popping in every now and then? Like you pop out from underneath the furniture?
Oh yeah, every single vignette they have, somewhere in it, you just see me go out and go, okay, all right, I'm just gonna stop you right there. Like sassy gay friend style.
Yes.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh my god.
I would love that.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think you definitely would steal the scene during that. And honestly,
very specifically during the single man drought scene where they have that line where the person's like, lesbian, I should have been a lesbian, and then I just pop out and I go, right here. Why not today? You don't have to be on this date with this mediocre man no more.
oh my god. Honestly, yes. Okay, producers, if you're watching, we got this. Let's go. I would love this. I love this a lot. You just stole the scene, Sam. Love that. You've stolen it and stolen our hearts. Speaking of hearts, I would love to turn to the next portion of our show, which is Talk Back Time, which is where we talk to you, the audience, about what's going on. Specifically with our topic, but what's going on? And I post a question on our Instagram page, which you can find right here. What I posed is I asked the question, I wanted to know the audience's hot takes on BFA programs. And so I have a few,
Let's do this.
And I am looking forward to hearing your response. So I have one here that says, there should be fewer programs and they should be cut programs. It should be treated like the NCAA. Students should be allowed to transfer to new programs if it's not working for them, or if they are cut, they should be allowed to continue with a degree program, just not the BFA. It should be similar recruiting styles like sports.
Honestly, okay, I'm with that with a small caveat. If you're going to do a cut program, which my program was a cut program, you had to be invited to continue after the first year.
Right.
If they know ahead of time, and they should know ahead of time, if they're going to cut a student, before that happens, they need to be put on like an improvement track.
Yeah.
You can't just blindside somebody and be like, get out the program.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. You need to give someone the opportunity to improve, like putting them on some kind of probation or something.
I think it would just be more beneficial in the long run, because during that time, it would also make the student think, okay, is this the program for me? Our next one is from Lydia, who says, when you're in this industry, education never stops. You don't have to have a BFA, to make it.
Totally agree.
Agreed.
Don't gotta have a BFA to make it.
Yeah, and we've already talked about that. I'm glad everyone's in agreement.
Agree.
There.
Approved.
Yes. Another response here is, don't get a BFA in the arts, do another passion, and then do theater after class if you can, and then save for grad school.
That I would agree with that just outright as like a way. But yeah, if you have another passion, I'm a person where I'm like, I don't have a plan B because I don't plan on not doing plan A.
Yeah.
That's how I am. So
same.
But if you have another passion, yeah, maybe try to find a way where you can pursue that passion and also theater, and then go get a master's degree in performance, because honestly, my master's degree far overrides my bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
I have so changed as a performer, because I went to my master's degree later. Like I was working for like 10 years and then I did a master's degree. I didn't do one into the other. So
yeah, I think that's the way to go, honestly.
My master's degree is what I'm riding on now. I still use the discipline from my bachelor's degree, but I don't use like the same stuff anymore.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's it.
Our next one is from Adam, who says, to me, BFA programs for the arts are more about the connections you make and the experience you get than what you learn through the text. And I also say this as a psych major who kind of wished I studied what I was actually passionate about, theater, but instead went with something that was more reasonable. I feel that. I feel that a lot, you know. And
I think, yeah, connections are.
That's a big part of it. And I spoke to another guest about this, is like college is really one of the peak times that you network, because if you're straight out of high school, unless you got the gall to go and do this, you're not going to go and network with the big execs on any posts. You know, you're gonna look to your teachers, who may give you a referral if they're highly connected. You know, and I think that's a huge part of it, which is why I actually, as someone who got a BA, that gave me the same kind of experience, because I had teachers who are still active in this industry. So it didn't matter if I was in a BFA or a BA, everyone still knows each other.
Yeah.
You know?
I think anywhere you are, that network is going to be your circle of influence to move forward. So yeah, okay, maybe people who go to certain BFA programs have access to people that can move them forward, but where there's a will, there's a way. Just because you can't afford to get into a program doesn't cut you off from that circle of influence entirely. There are other ways to do it. Auditing classes, going to their parties, making friends with people who went there and going to their parties and getting introductions. There's ways to do it. Yeah. So I'm sorry you didn't get to study what you wanted to, Adam, but I think you can get yourself in there if you need to. You can get the network you need.
Yeah, and Adam, from what I've seen and what I know that, you genuinely love performing. And I think that is also just a wonderful drive and motivating factor. Plus, this is just also as a general side note, I always feel that theater people end up either doing theater or psych.
For sure.
But yeah, I was gonna say you have a psych degree too. I am also considering
sociology, baby.
Yeah, I'm also considering, later in life, I want to do drama therapy.
Awesome. And we need more of that.
I love it, but one thing will always help the other.
For sure.
Or people who didn't go to school at all, and they ended up in theater. Before I really committed to this industry, I was dead set on going into robotics.
Whoa!
Badass. Thank you. Thank you. It was funny because everyone's like, "Well, that's a 180," and I went, "Yeah, it's called my brain shifted," and I realized I didn't want to do math. I just wanted to sing and dance. But now sometimes even now I use some of my leftover brain cells from the robotics years, and I'm like, "Oh, I can make props better because I understand how to build things."
If they ever do a BattleBots musical, you have to be in it.
I kid you not. I kind of have that on the back burner, in one of my weird dream show things that I'm like, what's something that no one has ever seen? Because we already got the boxing musical, we have wrestling musicals. What about robots? And not maybe happy ending, but robots.
I love it. I'll put money behind that.
Because an education, no matter where you get it from, helps you in your passions.
Yeah.
That's the wonderful thing about that.
That's it.
Oh my God. Well, thank you to everybody who participated in this talkback time. Please feel free to reach out if you have any other hot takes. Put them in the comments. Send them to me. I want to know. I want to hear from you because your voice matters in this too. Even if you've never been in theater in your life, I want to know what you think from an outside perspective because that also matters. All right, so I can't believe we're coming to this part of the show, but we're wrapping this up. And so, Sam, I want to give you a moment to, promote whatever you'd like. Where can people find you? Where can people see what you're up to?
Well, if you want to know anything about me, you can check out my website, seturlington.com. I have links there to the company that I own, Turlington and Company, where I do, productions with my friends and films that I really believe in, and just I'm creating community there. So a lot of my projects are listed there as well. Right now, we actually have a film on the festival circuit. It's called The Rest of Them. Ooh. It is just a queer slice of life that I made with some of my colleagues in Scotland, and we've won a lot of great awards, and I can't wait to release it publicly to share it with everybody. So that's going on. There's another film that I'm in called Rerun, which is part 2 of a trilogy that is currently on the festival circuit. So Meredith Dobbs is the director of that. You can find her and her website for all that information. And then, yeah, Instagram, seturli, TikTok, Prince Samlet.
I love that so much.
And I'm open to collaborating. I'm always down for a coffee chat to network and connect with people. I do, coaching for early career folks, and I do workshops for high schools. So holler at me and we can make something work.
Oh my God, absolutely fantastic. I'm going to definitely hit you up for that coffee chat because I feel like we got more to talk about.
We have tea to spill. We're going to do it.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for being here. This was a blast. Honestly, this was a real blast, and I hope to have you back as a guest again.
I will come back anytime you'll have me. Thank you so much, Marisa. I've loved it.
Oh, so happy to hear that. Well, I'm so glad we had this time together. Had to say it fast so I didn't get copyright stricken. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to Call Time a Theater Pod. My name is Marisa Helene Mast. You're the audience. Bye-bye now.